The UK unemployment rate currently stands at just 3.7%. The unemployment rate for 16 to 24-year-olds is 10.8%, while the inactivity rate, that's those not in education, employment or training, stands at 38.2%. Well, the charity Movement to Work was set up to tackle that state of affairs. It seeks to help young people not currently in education, employment or training step onto the career ladder by working with UK employers to provide quality jobs, training and work placement opportunities. Today marks its 10th anniversary and it's hosting a CEO conference to get more companies to support its work. Well, joining me now is the charity's new chair, Charles Woodburn, who is, of course, also Chief Executive of BAE Systems. Charles, very good morning to you. Why do you think inactivity levels are so high for this group?
Well, it's been quite a challenging period, Ian, and as you said, it is something that we as businesses feel very strongly about, and anything we can do to help get people into workplaces, give them the placement opportunities, which then hopefully will lead to successful outcomes. We as a company have been one of the founding members of Movement to Work. I personally have been involved since 2017, and we've seen the people that have come through Movement to Work. I meet them as I go around our UK businesses and see how well they're doing. They flourish with us. They come in typically for a placement, that becomes a bridge into an apprenticeship, and then from an apprenticeship into the workplace, and high quality, long-term employment awaits at the end of it. So we have had a very strong experience with Movement to Work, a very positive experience. And part of the reason I feel so passionate about it is that I want to make sure that other companies understand that there is an answer to some of these challenges that these young people are facing.
Are employers doing a good enough job in engaging with youth employment programmes?
Well, I think there's quite a variety of them, and we certainly think that Movement to Work stands tall within that. Movement to Work has actually offered 160,000 opportunities since it was founded 10 years ago, and more than half of those have led to successful outcomes. So that's a very large number of people that have used the opportunity, and we're very keen to make sure that other companies are aware of the success of Movement to Work, aware of the program, the fact that it doesn't cost anything to join Movement to Work. We support the young people. They get their transport and their lunches paid for when they do a placement with us, and really to try and reduce the barriers that some of these young people face to find their way into a workplace and ultimately a high quality long-term employment at the end of it.
Your company, BAE Systems, requires heavily on very, very highly skilled workers. Can someone on a work placement really add much value? Can they pick up a lot in a short space of time?
Well, I think that the evidence is there. I mean, we as a company, through Movement to Work, have had 700 placements in the last 10 years. We're offering another 100 this year. And as I've said already, as I go around our businesses, I quite often meet people that are very proud to say that they started on a Movement to Work placement. And, whilst the placement itself is really a bridge into an apprenticeship, I always think that placements, they allow us as a company to see, how people work in the place of work, but equally they allow those who are enjoying the placement to see what we are like as an employer and make a much more educated decision. So it is a first step on a pathway, but coming into our apprentice programs, and as you know, we have a very strong apprentice program here in the UK. We've increased our apprentice numbers, but getting onto an apprentice program then really is the first step or the second step after the placement into long-term employment.
Now, as we speak, the Prime Minister's giving a speech on how he wants people to carry on studying maths right up until the age of 18. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, from our perspective, we're an engineering company at its heart, and STEM, or at least numeracy skills, are indeed very important for us. So we firmly would support more numeracy and a higher standard coming out of our schools.
Is the education system in this country equipping young people sufficiently for the kind of careers that the modern economy is providing them with?
Well, I think there has been in the last handful of years, I think, a more of an appreciation of what apprenticeships can really offer. And I think that we've been, as a company, trying to make sure that people understand that. There's always been this sort of view at school age that the graduate route was in a sense the only way into quality employment. And apprenticeships offer an incredibly strong alternative, particularly at a time of cost of living crises and some of the challenges of inflation, where you can come into the workplace. In many cases, people can come through an apprenticeship and indeed get a degree at the end of it. Not all of them will do that, but without debt, and then with a job at the end of it. And I think that the more we can do as employers to sort of demonstrate that is not only just an alternative, but a very good alternative to the standard graduate track. I think it behoves all of us to make sure that young people see the importance of that, see the significance of it. And I think for us as a company, we do a very good job in the places that are close to our large centres of employment. But I think nationally, there's more we can do to raise the profile of apprenticeships.
And Charles, while we have you, there's been a lot of talk in the recent past about potentially the defence sector being deprived of capital because some investors won't invest on ESG grounds. Do you feel that the war in Ukraine has shifted sentiment among investors towards the defence sector?
I think it's fair to say in that it is shifting. There is still some way to go. We've always maintained that ESG and ESG considerations are important, but all of that requires the foundation of defence and security. And without defence and security, it's very hard to give any credibility to the other aspects of ESG. So. Obviously, unfortunately, due to the conflict here in Europe, in the brutal invasion of Ukraine, I think that the case for defence and security, has been more clearly made. I think, within all of that, it's then important for us to show as an employer the steps that we're taking to be a good place to work, that we look after the environment, the net zero things that we're doing. So they're all important considerations. But as a foundation, defence and security, has to be what modern democracies, freedom of speech, all the things that we take for granted are based upon.
All right, Charles, we have to leave it there. Really good to see you this morning, and best of luck with the events. Thank you.
Thanks very much.